With game 1 in the rearview mirror for the Washington Commanders, we're going to be discussing in today's video what's going to take for the Commanders in a short week, prime time, game 2, how to beat Super Bowl favorite, the Green Bay Packers. I'm your host, Azael Mejia, with Commander Digest, reporting everything all Washington Commanders throughout the whole regular season. So if you want to be caught up to date, everything Commanders, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Yes, Commander fans, rejoice that Sunday are going against not the Green Bay Packers yet, the New York Giants. Very defensive win, especially in that second half. We're able to make big stops when they needed to. So, obviously, like I said in the intro, Super Bowl favorites. Even before the Micah trade, the Packers were looking like Super Bowl favorites. They go out and they go get Micah Parsons. I was sort of flabbergasted. I was just misinformed, or I was essentially when Cowboys traded the Packers. When Cowboys traded Micah to the Packers, I was like, oh, let's go. We don't have to face Micah no more. And then I looked at the schedule. Oh, my God, we faced the Packers this year. And then of all weeks, week 2. So we're going to be discussing what's it going to take for the Commanders to beat the Packers, because obviously a big factor is going to be Micah Parsons. I mean, maybe Jerry Jones doesn't see it, but I know a lot of Commanders fans see it, that he's a generational player. He is a defensive superstar. So he is going to play a factor. And what is going to take for the Commanders to win that game? And, I don't know if you could call them NFL fans or just haters, because, this will be a great win for the Commanders in the resume, because a lot of people last year are saying it was a fluke. I don't know how it could be a fluke team if you go win 12 games and you go to the NFC Championship, but I digress. We do got the quotes. I do got the stats. I've done all the research for you, believe it or not, so you don't have to. We're going to be breaking it down. But before we do that, if you're a new watcher, new viewer to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Like I said in the intro, we're going to be covering all regular season games, whether that be W's, L's, draws. It will be covered right on the channel. Hopefully there's a lot of W. Hopefully there's a lot of W videos. And if that's for the new people. Now, if you're a returning viewer, make sure you are subscribed, because 87.5 of y'all who are watching the videos are not subscribed. That's crazy. It's for the free skis, and it takes like 2 seconds. You can legit subscribe while you're watching the videos. That's how easy it is. But one last announcement. Digest Media is hiring. You can join our team today. All links will be in the description. If you don't know what Digest Media is, it's essentially a media company that covers all 4 major sports leagues in North America, whether that be NHL, MLB, NBA, NFL. Digest Media more than likely has a channel on it. You can legit Google Digest Media and you can see all the different teams they cover. So if you do watch these other sports leagues, check them out. Check out the Digest Media. And not just me, not just Commander Digest. There's a whole bunch of other channels under the Digest Media umbrella. So if you ever wanted to be a part of the ever-evolving world of sports media, whether it be a content creator, sports writer, storyteller, Digest Media is where it's at. They gave me, I'm first-hand experience. They gave me my first shot in the world of sports media. And if you've been an OG, we have been running it up. We have been running it up since the beginning. We started from absolute zero. Zero everything. Views, subscribers. Digest Media, they give me the resources. They give me the keys. They gave me the channel. They're like, here, do what you gotta do. We'll give you the keys, the resources to succeed, whether that be scripts, whether that be content ideas, thumbnails. They've helped me along the way. And look, the numbers have been numbering. Everything's been in the green. And especially like times like this, it's only going to get better. So like I said, if you ever want to be a part of the ever-evolving world of sports media, Digest Media is where it's at. And we can't wait for you to join the team. Now let's get back to the video. Like I said, one big factor is going to be Micah Parsons. Commanders fans know how dangerous this man is. At least him being with the Packers, you face him just once instead of twice. But we do have some quotes going into it. First one being involving Micah Parsons himself. All these quotes are from Zach Selby, senior writer for the Washington Commanders from WashingtonCommanders.com. Let me preface this. I know all the quotes are going to be fat daddy. They're going to be pretty big. So read if you want, but I'm going to be reading it. We're going to be breaking it down. First one right here saying, the Commanders do have some tools they can work with. Left tackle Laremy Tunsil allowed 0 pressures from Parsons in their last 2 matchups. And while that doesn't guarantee success on Thursday, it does show Tunsil has a history of holding his own. As a result, rookie Josh Conley Jr. could see a lot more of Parsons. Conley allowed a sack last week against the Giants, but otherwise looked solid against New York's front, allowing just 2 pressures. W quote by Zach, a little bit L reading by me, but let's break it down. Yes, this is one of the reasons why Commanders went to go get, before the Micah trade, they made the trade with the Texans to go get Laremy Tunsil, because back then, the worry was, okay, you face Micah Parsons twice a year, so you gotta have to go get an offensive line that can protect him, because Micah Parsons, like I said, is a generational player. You're gonna need an offensive line that can protect the quarterback, especially dynamic dual threat quarterback like Jayden Daniels. And it's great to see that Laramie Tunsil has held his own against Micah before. He knows. He has experience. He has history with him. So hopefully going to be able to repeat that success. But it's not guaranteed, like the quote says. And then this will be a real challenge for Josh Conley Jr. We talked about how he's the first round pick for the Commanders this year in the draft. One of the best offensive linemen, obviously, to go in the first round. But this will be a real challenge for him. Because we talked about it before in the Giants. And one of the preview videos for the Giants is that Josh Conley Jr., people are going to take him lightly. They're going to try to expose him for him being a rookie, because it is going to be a trend. Everybody, all college, no matter the superstar you are in college, it's going to be a different beast, a different machine, making that transition from college to the NFL, because, you're playing against a lot of young dudes in college, early 20s, but then when you go to the NFL, you're playing against grown men. So it is going to be a challenge. They're going to be the first challenge for Josh Conley Jr. trying to cover against a superstar like Micah Parsons. The next quote that we have, also by Zach Selby, talking about how the Commanders have to create turnovers if they want to win this game, because, dynamic quarterback, they also have the Packers, Jordan Love. He is great, but Zach goes into details why he might not be as great as everybody thinks. The Commanders should have opportunities to create more chances with their offense on Thursday. Despite the Packers having one of the best turnover margins in the sport last season, Love was tied with 3 other players for the 4th most interceptions in the league. And Pro Football Focus notes that he was tied for 13th in turnover-worthy plays, and he had 2 in their Week 1 matchup against the Detroit Lions. Washington must capitalize on those moments, but games like this are why they overhauled their secondaries this offseason. Another W quote out reading by me. It is a big paragraph. You're going to make mistakes, but it's just great to see how he's trying to point plot holes into the argument that, okay, Jordan Love is going to just smoke the Commanders. The Commanders did a great job against the Giants. Say what you want to say, Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He has a ton of experience in this league, and it was great to see how the Commanders were able to lock certain aspects of his game down, especially in the second half. And that's the reason why you get all these great players in the secondary. Picture right here, Marshall Lattimore. You go get second round pick Trey Amos. You go get Jonathan Jones. You do have Mike Sanry still. You have Iggy. You go make the secondary a no-fly zone. And like it says in the quote, Jordan Love tied with 3 other players for 4th most turnovers in the league since he's been there, and he has he was 13th he's tied for 13th in turnover-worthy plays. So if the Commanders want to win the game, they gotta have to capitalize on turnovers. They didn't capitalize on certain aspects throughout the Giants game. If you remember, I can't put a specific play on display, then that's my inexperience showing, but there were certain aspects, certain moments in the game where the Commanders they could have took advantage of it, and they didn't against the Giants. They can't make those same mistakes again, especially with the penalties. I can remember the penalties. You can't make those mistakes against a team like the Packers, because they will take advantage. If the Giants don't, the Packers will. This last quote we have, last Fat Daddy quote, I promise, is also talking about how keep being defensive. The Commander had to stay defensive on the ball. Like I said, Jordan Love is a dynamic quarterback. He is going to make you pay for him if you leave certain things open, if you expose certain gaps within the defense. Zach Selby goes into details of what the Commanders had to do in order to stop him. The Commanders' defense drastically improved from a year ago. They stuck to their rushing lanes, held the Giants to 74 yards on the ground, and provided stingy coverage against players like Malik Neighbors. The Packers are the type of team that general manager Adam Peters made all those moves to beat. He upgraded the defensive line and overhauled the secondary to give them a better chance against the best teams in the conference. It's only week 2, but Thursday game will provide a look at where the new version of the roster stacks up with a perceived Super Bowl contender. That's W quote by Zach Selby. I think that was W reading by me, but it sort of puts emphasis on the last quote we did. Why Adam Peters, he didn't want to just make certain moves just to beat the Cowboys, just to beat the Giants, just to beat the Eagles. No, you got to think about the whole conference in general. Who are you most likely to see in this matchup? Believe it or not, I know a lot of fans, he try to move the goalposts, but if we go over last year, Commanders are not Super Bowl. Let me preface this, a playoff team. They're a playoff team, so this could be a playoff matchup Packers against the Commanders. So you want to get ready for it. You want to go against, you want these challenges in the regular season so you can be prepared for them going into the playoffs if you do happen to face them again. And it's just great to see that Adam Peters not only just thinking about the teams in his division, but also the whole conference. You got to look at the bigger picture. You can't just be looking at the little picture. You got to look at the big picture on who you might face, those first, those second, the NFC Championship. You never know if they can repeat their success. But it all comes down, what do you guys think? What do the Commanders have to do in order to beat the Green Bay Packers? Like I said, do you agree with what Zach Selby had to say? Stop Micah Parsons. Create turnovers. Keep being defensive. What? Because we know, like I said in the previous video, if you haven't seen that one, go watch it after this one. We know what JD5 can do. We know what Zach Ertz can do. We know what Scary Terry can do. So it's going to have to be the defense that's going to have to carry this game. It's going to have to be another defensive heavy game because dynamic quarterback like Jordan Love, he's going to try to expose the defense, make it a no-fly zone. Micah Parsons, generational player, he's going to try to get those hits in. You got to be ready for it. But you guys let me comment down below what you think the score will look like. How close would it be? And let me know, would this expose the Commanders early on in the season of being that flop? Would the Packers expose JD5 and this will be the start of the sophomore slump that they say, or getting a win right here against the Packers, put them in that conversation for the Commanders to be Super Bowl bound this year? Let me know. But if anything breaks within the Commanders atmosphere, you know we covered right here on the channel. I'm Azael Mejia with Commander Digest, and I'll see you in the next video.